Look, man, everybody been asking for it. Classic Dead End Hip Hop review.
Hey, look, we're doing class reviews now, thanks to you. But if you want to nominate, be responsible for nominating who we review and what we review, head over to the reward section. That being said, let's go.
Dead End Hip Hop Patron Classic Review. Look, man, y'all back to back this guy right here, man. Kanye West, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy.
We might have to put like a 3-month ban.
I know, right on Kanye.
Yeah. On the record, though, we're not gonna do 808, so don't submit.
No.
That's gonna be.
Yes, we are. Like, what do you mean?
Let me clarify. We are going to do it, but I think that's gonna be a special video. I don't think that's one that we'll do.
Yeah, we'll vote on. We'll just drop it for y'all.
Yeah, so that's gonna be different. So that one's excluded.
Yeah, y'all not gonna vote on that one.
Yeah,
y'all not gonna vote on that one. We gonna do it because
so don't waste your vote.
Yeah, don't waste your vote on that. Yeah. We got something special we want to do with that.
But yeah, man, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, Kanye. Like, to me, out of all those projects that Kanye came out with, to kind of put him at that stratosphere, for him to come out with this after all of that,
the apology record.
For what?
That's what he called it.
That's what he called it?
I never heard that.
Yes, he said it was more like an apology album.
He didn't say that.
Yes, he did. He said it on Jimmy Kimmel or
receipts,
or something like that.
Really?
Yeah.
So that's him basically saying that he thinks that 808s is a bad album?
I think people are pointing to the Taylor Swift thing that went down.
Oh.
Yeah.
This was after Taylor?
Yeah.
No, this was during Taylor, wasn't it?
I think this was
you know
after.
What? He's right. I do remember that. He's right.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know about the apology part, but he's right that this did come. Yeah.
Before
after
Taylor.
that, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's right.
For Kanye to lock himself up in Hawaii, right?
He went into exile.
To masterpiece this thing out, right? Like every single detail. I think when you listen to a track like All of the Lights, right? How everything is just, it's so loud, it's so energetic. It sounds like it was a real life band. And then how he used Charlie Wilson, Alicia Keys, just here, this is all I need. That just shows you, to me, like how genius he is and how like controlling he can be over his craft. And then for it to come out like this.
Think about the rollout for this album, because remember that's when he started the Good Friday thing. And at the time we was like every Friday he was releasing like dope ass tracks. I'm like, okay, this cannot be on it. He's not releasing the whole album before he releases it.
But see, that's what ruined it for me though.
The only two songs that was on the album was that he released was Power and Devil in the Blue Dress. But then that version,
Power was a remix.
Oh, it was.
The Power was a remix with Jay-Z and.
It sure was.
Was it Yasin Bey? It was Jay-Z and somebody.
Yeah, you right. It sure was. But then Devil in the Blue Dress. Devil in New Dress. It was just Kanye on the album version. You had the instrumentation and Rick Ross. So that was the only thing that was.
Yeah, but I think it was so much Kanye every week, and then when the album came, I'm like, damn, we had.
I think it was dope that. I think that shit was dope.
About that. I remember. You remember, right? Rob was like, nah, man.
Every week,
I'm like, what's wrong with Rob?
Every week, and them joints was dope as hell.
I'm not saying that it
heavy. Remember that one?
Yeah.
My chain heavy. My chain too heavy. Come on, man.
I'm not saying that those tracks.
Yes, you are.
I know. But then what made it better was when the album came out. I'm like, holy shit!
It's like, how does he have this much dope shit? How does he have 2 albums worth of this dope shit?
I was like,
come on, man.
What the hell? I said, Kanye, you motherfucker, man. So I thought the rollout and just like the promoting, getting this album ready. I think the rollout was a little bit too much for me.
I thought we never had an artist on his level give away free songs on the internet when people were kind of anti-internet.
Not original shit.
Right, we knew the album was coming. And we all, that's the best part, we all thought this was the album. We thought that the Free Friday shits was gonna be the album. And then the album came out, we're like, wait a minute.
So
all that shit we've been listening to wasn't on? What? Man, I don't know what is going on with you, Rod.
Yeah, Rod, you said it threw you off. So did you eventually get into it?
Oh hell yeah! Okay. Hell yeah! It just initially threw me off because it was just like Good Friday album, and it's just like fuck. I'm a little Kanye'd out. You know what I mean? So it's like. I don't know, man. It was weird. It was weird. So it was a little too much for me.
So it took you a little while to get into the album, or like?
No. I thought the songs were dope, but it just took me a while. Like because I was still processing the other shit that came out.
Good Friday.
I was still listening to the Good Fridays joints, And now I got this whole other album that I gotta listen to. It's like, damn,
But
it's
the
just
album
too
sounded
much.
so different though. The album didn't sound like those songs. I think that's what made the album so good. It's because the album didn't even have the same feel as those Good Friday songs.
Yeah, I get
like
you.
the album felt like an album.
Yeah.
Like once we got everything packaged up, it was like, okay, I see why these songs weren't on there.
Yeah.
These were just
And even
they
the songs he
wanted to rap.
released on Good Friday, he added little different stuff to them. Like he might have added a kick or
And
a
then
snare.
shit, hell, he
Yeah.
added, I think one of the tracks on to Watch the Throne from one.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
The Joy.
Joy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Pete Rock. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It was just,
He always wanted to
it was
work
just
with
so
Pete
much
Rock.
Kanye music. I was just like,
But that was like
Great, man.
probably one of the finest moments of the internet and hip hop.
no, it was.
And Kanye.
Listen to what I'm saying. Okay,
I hear you. We've had this discussion before.
I know, but we like the people don't know. So like, I didn't have a problem with the Good Friday music. You know what I mean? Like I was like, all right, this is dope.
Mm-hmm.
It just was so much music. By the time the album came, I was a little just exhausted from Kanye, so I had to kind of take a break from it and then go back and listen to it. And I was like, it was dope. I mean, it's undeniably dope.
This is Kanye's masterpiece, man.
I agree.
You think it's his best album?
Yeah, overall, yeah, by far his best album. Because all the other albums, I don't know, you heard where he can grow. Like he always called himself a genius, right? And it was always kind of like I felt he left the door open. You know what I'm saying, to even do better. But when he dropped this, it was like, okay, this is your pinnacle. You can't outdo this.
And when you couple that the Good Fridays with the album and the moment, right? Everything was about Kanye and what's going on with this album, and is this what it's gonna sound like? And you're trying to get every little piece of information that you could. And this dude is in fucking Hawaii, right? Just keeping everything total secret. You couldn't even take your phone.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I think that added to like Kanye, people looking to Kanye as this genius. People are looking at Kanye as a genius, just how meticulous he was with the creation of this album. And that added to him as a profile, as a character. Like you said, he was saying he was a genius, and then people would come away with these stories about the things he was doing, and you were like, God dang. So, but yeah, I think you needed the Good Fridays. I think if you had the album without the Good Fridays, it would still be as good, but I don't think it would be, the feeling wouldn't be there the way you have with the Good Fridays.
To outdo yourself is extremely difficult when you set the bar high already. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like that lends itself to his genius, to the masterpiece that this album is. Out of all of Kanye's dope albums, this is the one I listened to like it came out in 2017.
Same.
I go back. Like sometimes I'm like, you know what? Let me go back to this. And the first song I go back to is "Devil in a New Dress." Y'all already know how I feel about Ross. That exit him out. That's one of the dopest tracks on here. Not because of Ross, but that beat, how elegant, how beautiful that is.
I like
No. Ross was good. Hold on, I'm gonna get to Ross now.
Fine.
Whatever. Hey, cut him out.
Look, I ain't saying that.
Fine.
It was better than that bullshit he did on Monster.
Whatever.
The 2.5
Yeah.
bars he did. I'm a monster, no good monster. Shut your fat ass up. Nobody want to hear you right now.
But on Devil in a New Dress, man, the way how that beat is so beautiful, and then they let it
Shout out to
breathe.
Bink, man. Bink, he was the unsung hero on that joint, for that joint.
Well, he produced it for Kanye to let it breathe before Ross comes in. Then he comes in with the whoa. You know, like man, it was a dude. Like that song, I have to go back to. That's like one of my.
Wasn't that
all-time
released before the album?
Yeah,
That was one
It
of
was
the
part of Good Friday, but it was just Kanye. It was,
Right. And I remember that. So it was a surprise, and it was, and like you're right, it was cool that he let it ride.
It was a different feel, yeah. It brought a different feel.
I heard that Ross only put that verse on there because people were making fun of him because of Monster.
Oh, really?
That's what I heard. I don't know if that. You didn't hear that? I heard that
Wow.
because he only had those 2.5 bars, so everyone just ignores the fact that he was even on the track.
Yeah.
Remember when that song came out, the only thing people were talking about was Nicki Minaj.
Verse, yeah.
So then they would be like, oh yeah, but Kanye's verse was dope too. Oh, but yeah, but so was Jay-Z's verse. Nobody mentioned Ross. So I don't know if any of this is true because I don't care to research it because it's fun to have these little conspiracy theories. But I heard that Ross went back to Ye and was like, man, let me get on this.
Let me get on this.
And I think that's why, to me, Ross doesn't really sound like he fit on that song.
Really?
Nah, he sounded like he fit.
I don't think
he was
sounded
floating.
like he.
Nah, he was
I'm
floating.
not saying he wasn't. I'm saying he wasn't floating. I'm saying he didn't. I don't think personally I could do without Ross on that song.
Cause that's raw sound all day, like that real, like
I mean, and Beat produced for him before, so.
yeah, right. That's what I'm saying. That's his sound all day.
I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good. I know we know you good on it, man.
I mean, look. Like I said, Ross, his verse was fine, but it's not whack.
Right.
But after Kanye's verse, I was just like, I'm not trying to hear this.
But you talk about
Or the jerk. She said, "You are what you eat." Ross can't come out with no shit like that.
But you talk about my favorite joint is So Appalled. That man, every Pusha T, Sci Hot, like everybody on that joint.
They all
killed
the
it.
rap.
That was a good Friday too, wasn't it? But I heard that before the
That was one
album
of the
came
first
out.
singles. It was one of the first singles off.
So maybe, you know what? Maybe I started mixing like the singles with the Good Fridays. Like I said again, man, it was just like, damn. I felt like I had heard most of the album before it actually came out. I know it sounded different, you know, as an album, but it seemed like I had heard a lot of it before it actually came.
I thought it was only So Appalled and Monster.
I thought Power was one.
Power was
you're
one
right.
too.
Power was
All
one.
of the lights.
All of the lights was
All
Did
of the
they all
lights.
come out before the album?
Yeah.
All the
Not
lights was
before.
after. All the lights was after,
Yeah. All of the lights was after that.
Okay, right. So before the album was just Power and So Appalled,
So
right?
Appalled, yeah.
Because the only way we heard Runaway was when he just did that thing on the live performance.
And I wanted to talk about that.
And then Pusha T came out.
Yes.
And I didn't even know it was Pusha T at first. I was like, who the fuck is that? I didn't know it was Pusha T until the next day.
And he just Kanye.
Yes. Yeah, all that shit was so dope, man.
Man, and it dope. Get at, and he was controlling it. Oh my god.
I was kind of mixed on that at first.
What are you talking about?
When I saw him doing it live.
What? How can you
mixed
be
like
mixed?
what you
I was only mixed for the first couple seconds until that beat came in. But at first I was like, what is he doing with this pretentious bullshit?
I think that's where I was at.
I'm with you on
I
that.
was like, okay, come
Yeah,
on,
I'm with him
man.
on that. I was like, get the fuck out of here. But then when that beat came in, who got you? Who got you? Who got you? That shit was so dope.
That shit live, dope. The piano live, the whole man. Come on, man.
And he
Come
did
on,
Power
man.
like that on that Runaway video where he had the MPC in there and he was like,
Oh yeah, he did. That 30-minute long
yeah.
video
Yeah, that shit
that
was
totally
dope.
made the album for me.
Yep.
Get the fuck out
And
of here.
then I thought was interesting too was the Kid Cudi and Raekwon joint.
Raekwon
So gorgeous. Huh?
Sorry.
You say what again?
I don't think Raekwon fit.
I thought that was interesting, you know, the way I don't know why Kanye did his voice like that though, kind of fuzzed it out when Raekwon was
With
flowing.
Raekwon?
Yeah, on Raekwon, but I was like, well, I didn't get that part. I thought Raekwon's verse was dope, but I didn't like the whole fuzzing his voice out. I'm like,
Yeah, Raekwon's verse was really dope, but
Yeah,
it did. Maybe that's why I didn't like it.
I'm saying
I never noticed his voice being fuzzed
Yeah,
out.
it was like, I'm like, why did he? I remember when I first heard it, I'm thinking I'm gonna hear like Raekwon, like the chef voice, and he buzzed it out. I'm like, oh man, like, damn, the verse is dope, but that kind of messed it up.
I'm gonna go back and listen again. Maybe that's why, because I've never really thought that his verse fit on that song. Just like I didn't think RZA fit when he came in.
At the end.
Ministry is fucking ridiculous.
I do because it's so weird and awkward and out of place.
That's right though,
But that's what kind of makes, because it becomes one of those things where you outside of the album, you kind of sitting around with your friends and you just kind of say just out loud because it just sounds so freaking ridiculous. So it just kind of became a part of it became part of the moment of that album.
And Blame Game too. Blame Game is another one of my, like, I gotta go back and listen to every now and again. It's like the way
John
that
Legend was a perfect.
Perfect. And then how Kanye fades in and out from left to right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, oh my God, like just the level of detail that Kanye, like, to me, this is what validated his genius.
Yeah, I agree. Because I was, even though personally, Late Registration is still my favorite Kanye album, but when this album came out, I was like, okay, this motherfucker genius. Like, it was like, this dude is really a genius. Yeah, you couldn't argue. Like, if people say that shit, you'd be like, well,
yeah, nah, Ken used to say he wasn't. You used to say he wasn't.
you probably
I probably could argue.
Nah, you did used to argue that shit.
I did.
But stopping at that album, how could you?
Yeah, how could you
Because
at
it
that
was
point?
like every beat, every detail, every rhyme.
Yeah.
Like this was Kanye's peak lyricism.
Yep.
And in my opinion, this is Kanye's peak beat making.
Yep.
So how could you actually argue against him being a musical genius at this point?
Yep.
Because there were so many small, like this album, seriously, it's still, to this day, to me, it still sounds like the soundtrack for a movie that was never fucking made.
Yep.
And nobody else, aside from a few rappers, have come anywhere near doing something like this. Like, there's not a slouchy moment. I don't give a fuck what neither one of y'all say about the last 3 jams. There's not a slouchy moment. Like, even if you don't like Hell of a Life, you can't tell me that song wasn't still better than 90% of the motherfuckers that were out at that point.
Another thing that lends itself to being a classic is the fact that 20 years from now, this is not gonna sound outdated.
Hell no.
Nope.
Like 50 years from now, this is not gonna sound outdated.
His albums after this sound more outdated than this.
Yes. Yep.
Jesus sounds
Yes.
older than this shit. Like this
Pablo,
shit.
yeah.
Come on, man. No, Life of Pablo is a different story.
And wasn't
Y'all hate that.
yeah, no.
Life of Pablo is dope.
Because Jay-Z wasn't really rapping. He got like 2 Jay-Z verses on here.
I think so.
Because Jay-Z,
Paul and Monster.
yeah, and I think we were surprised to hear like Jay-Z not only giving 1 verse but 2. You know,
Kanye though.
yeah, but it's Jay-Z too.
Jay will gladly, at that point in time, give Kanye whatever he wanted. Because
2 verses though?
Because Kanye gave Jay whatever he needed and wanted.
Kanye was supposed to.
Yeah, but
Jay, I mean, even I don't even like Jay like that, and I'm like, what are you?
No, but all I'm saying is that Kanye outdid himself on the blueprint, on everything he did
Doesn't
for Jay.
matter, Ralph.
It's kind of
Jay-
like Jay had to give him
Bruh,
something.
it's Jay-Z.
Jay didn't have to give him shit.
Kanye was rising,
Right.
but Kanye
wasn't there yet.
Yeah, he wasn't there yet at all.
At My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, he wasn't there yet.
Not to where you would expect to hear 2 verses from the biggest rapper.
This album didn't even sell better than 808s when it dropped.
Well, I don't know about that.
It didn't.
No, I believe you. I'm saying I didn't know.
Yeah, it didn't. But I think that's when this whole internet thing, so I think the internet impacted more than the actual quality of the product because everybody still was trying to adjust. Because you still had to go buy albums and everything was leaking left and right. So, and nobody was buying. When I think about the album now, today, you guys talked about the beats and lyricism and rap and all. I think the way you kind of spoke on this, the voices, the artists themselves. I think that's like where Kanye's magic happened because he used them like instruments, like that
All the features.
Yeah, the way he pieced them together and used them not just as features, but as part of the album, part of the beat, like tweaking the voices. Like I didn't really pick that up about Raekwon shit. The snippet of Rick Ross, which probably pissed Rick Ross off to the point where he had to go add another verse. And then how Nicki Minaj, like how she,
At the beginning.
That was the birth of Nicki Minaj.
bruh, it
That
put
was
her
what
on
put her
the
on the
map.
map.
Yep, sure did. And she did like every single iteration of those different voices that she had. And I often wonder, and I think she actually spoke on this. I don't think she said Kanye told her to do that, but it wouldn't surprise me if he did.
Oh yeah.
You know, if he did.
But she knew she had to show up.
Of course.
You're on a track with Ye and Jay. You have to show up.
Not even that. She was the interlude before the track. Like she was the one talking.
I think that was after, is what I read too.
What do you mean?
I don't think that. And again, all this could be wrong because I don't think Kanye's ever validated any of this shit. But what I read was that she did Monster, and then while she was there, Ye was like, "Oh, do this real quick."
Okay.
That's what I heard. Could be wrong, but either
again,
way,
this is, you know,
she showed up to
it's
rap.
an instrument.
She did.
That monster verse for her is almost similar to like how Lil' Kim verse on Quiet Storm remix is. Like people will be like, okay, yeah, Lil' Kim, but Quiet Storm remix, she fucking killed. So like that's the same thing I think is gonna be with
And
the
there's
monster.
there's quotables there for like, you know, a lot of the females out there that listen to that song.
Yep.
That people still say this. I can't remember what they are, but you know when you hear them. We didn't even talk about the album cover and how that.
Yeah, like
never
4 or 5.
Oh, I mean, it's so much about it. Like,
You understand it?
Like, what do you mean?
The white chick, the angry black dude. What did you get?
But I'm
The
just
knife
saying,
going in through the head. Like he had so
Yeah,
many,
the
he had so
artwork for this album is amazing.
he still uses that as his avatar. Like,
Yeah.
ain't that crazy? Like,
he know.
today.
He know what his best music was.
Like,
It's
that's crazy.
it's shit.
All of the lights, man. Like that's the perfect like black HBCU like band song. Like the horns, man. Like
that
that's
build up. You like
Video's dope as shit too.
yeah, and the drums, like the drums. man, like, and the way they're placed, like they're not like on beat, they're off beat, but the rhythms and the patterns. And I'm thinking, I'm like, man,
genius, man.
Then Alicia Keys come in. You know what I'm saying? Like she's just an instrument. Like
I would love
it was crazy, man.
Like the drum sound throughout this was perfect.
Yep.
Everything was leveled perfect.
Yeah.
Like I cannot think of one gripe. Like even when he wasn't rapping super hard, like on All of the Lights, it just still worked out perfect.
Yeah.
Like nothing was off.
Just think about how many moving
we
parts.
call that a career year in baseball.
Well, yeah, you know, it was definitely a career. But think about how many moving parts. Like how you were talking about, like the level of everything.
Yeah.
Everybody doesn't have the same tone and pitch when you record them.
Right.
To mix that down to make it perfect on every track. Because we listen to projects now that sometimes this track sounds a little bit higher than, you know what I'm saying, this track over here. Like there's still, it's rare to get an extremely perfect album.
But this kind of like helped jumpstart the solo career of Pusha T. Because this was kind of like
That's true.
coming off, him coming off
And
the cliff.
Saha, it set us up for Saha that never got.
Never got, yeah.
Pusha T had those dope verses. I'm like, this shit is setting this up perfect,
He
man.
came out
And
on that
man,
On the way.
man.
Yeah.
20
And his first solo album and
Pussy
stuff.
stays off my mind. All right, I admit it. So picture next move where you can leave or live with it. Ichabod Crane with that motherfucking top off. Oh my God, that's the best part. Ichabod Crane with that motherfucking top off.
Yeah, man.
Go back to wearing knockoffs, knock it off. No, that shit is so
Just
dope.
set that shit off so perfect.
Oh, man.
Damn.
Why do you think it's a classic?
This is one of our hip-hop geniuses' brightest moments. I think that this album is never, ever going to sound dated. The way that, you know, how he said, how he used all of these artists as musical instruments as well as artists. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't get too many albums that are able to do that. Mike said with the audio and the mixing, just how you have so many moving parts, and to get the levels right on everything. The ideas of letting Devil in a New Dress breathe before Ross, just those little nuances, man. Like it's just, to me, it's a perfect album. To me, like when people the other day I went on Dead Hip Hop and Twitter, and I was like, ask me for anything. Y'all asked me some of my top 5 albums all time, top 10. This one was on there.
I mean, I think for me, to come off of one of your worst albums today with 808 and to put out...
Ken trying to get his Rick Ross moment right
No. Seriously, no, I'm dead ass serious. Like, when you come off 808s and Heartbreaks, like the lowest of all lows, and then you
cut the camera.
No,
Is the mic still on this bitch?
and
Hold
then you
on,
put
cut that shit off.
this out, like, and even though it was an apology record for Taylor Swift and everything else, to me personally, I think this was an album that he put out to make up for 808s and Heartbreaks, and I'll stand by that. But there were things from 808s and Heartbreaks that he used on this album that he used them in a way that sounded way better. So to come off from that, to create like this moment with Good Fridays and conspiracy theories and, you know, the rollout and just everything that coupled with it, the features and how you use the features, like, it's like it was almost perfect.
This a moment for me where I realized that, you know, production wise, even just MC as he's been getting better throughout his career, at that moment, Kanye is a genius. Kanye West is a genius. Like I said before, even though this is my personal, maybe my second favorite Kanye album, which is still good, but I feel like this is the last great Kanye album we've got. Like, this is like Lil Wayne's Carter 3, and we haven't got nothing that can touch Carter 3 since he's made nothing that can nowhere near touch it. In my opinion, that's how I feel with Kanye. I think he hasn't made anything that can touch this album since he released that album.
After they've all gone, there's really not much I can say. I just think that this album is damn near flawless. Like, I can't think of anything that I would take off or change. Even the parts that I don't personally love, I think the fact that they stick out to me just makes it that much more interesting of an album. And I think, to Ken's point of him coming off of 808s and Heartbreaks and then doing this, even though I love 808s and Heartbreaks, I think that transition to doing an album like this is just amazing. And I honestly think that if he'd never done 808s, he would have never done this. I think he would have just kept replicating what he was already doing. So I think that 808s leading into this was Kanye's fucking moment. This was Kanye's moment rapping. This was Kanye's moment producing. This was Kanye's moment to prove everybody that was saying, this dude's full of himself, he's full of shit, he's just crazy. Yeah, he's all of those things. But he's also a musical genius. It's about the work. I'm proving to y'all why I can be like this.
And most geniuses are crazy.
Most geniuses, name a what do you say? Name a genius that ain't crazy.
Right.
You know? And to this day, this still has my favorite Ye line. Where he says, mommy, best advice just to get on top of this. Have you ever had sex with a pharaoh? I'll put the pussy in a sarcophagus. I'm telling you, I don't care how many years down the line, I will still look at that line and giggle to myself because it's so fucking hilariously great. But this album is just, I think it's flawless. So take what you want with that.